everyone, welcome back again to my YouTube channel today. So in my last tutorial I shared with you guys how to make this black top, and I promised that I will be sharing the tutorial for the pencil skirt today. So if you're interested in learning how to make a simple long pencil skirt, please keep on watching, and if you're still yet to subscribe, hit on the subscribe button and let's get started with this tutorial. Girl, you always solve problems and you just never solve them. So guys, if you want to make this skirt, you will need about 2 yards of fabric to just be on a very safe side. What I have here is not up to 2 yards, but this was what the owner of this skirt brought. So I'm just going to use what I have here. So I'll be using everything here. So I'm going to fold this fabric into 4, as you see me doing like this. If you are using a fabric that is more, you definitely don't need to fold like the whole 2 yards because that would be too much, except you're on a bigger size. So now once you folded your fabric into 2 first, the next thing you want to do is to fold it again into, this time around this fold is into 4. But you'll notice I'm not allowing the second fold to get all the way to the end. It's about 1.5 inch away from the end of the first fold. This 1.5 inch space I'm leaving is going to serve as my zipper allowance for the back. So that's why I didn't allow the other fold to get all the way to the end. So this area here is the front, this folded edge, and then this other side with the excess is the back. Remember I said that's the zipper allowance. I have already drawn a straight line across the top of this fabric, as you can see. So all my measurements are going to be starting from this line. But I decided to extend my tape on this line by 1.5 inch. That is going to serve as my band. So now from the top, I measure down to the 11 inches point, and I'm going to draw this across. I'll draw a line across this point. This line I just drew is the hip line. So from my client's waist to her hip is 11 inches. Still extending my tape on that first line by the 1.5 inch. I am going to come down to the length that this skirt is going to be. So it's going to be 42 inches long, but instead of 42, I'm going to cut it out with 43.5. So I'm just going to draw a line across this point as well. Now you're going to come back to the top and you're going to take your body measurement. Now you will take your measurement from the front piece, which is the folded one, not the zipper allowance. So I'm going to mark my client's waist measurement divided by 4 here. I just marked it. Now coming to the hip line, I will mark her hip measurement divided by 4 down here. You will notice I don't have a lot of allowance here because the fabric I folded is not much, and this is all the fabric I have to work with. Now coming back to this waistline, I'm going to add 1.5 inch. I added 1.5 inch for stitching allowance and for the dart. And for the hip line, I had to maintain the little allowance I had on the hip. But if you have enough fabric to work with, you will also add 1.5 inches to the hip. Now on the hemline, I'm going to just mark my hip measurement divided by 4 there. I did not add any stitching allowance to the hem because I wanted to have that tight shape effect at the end. But if you wanted to just go straight down, you can add some more stitching allowance to the hem. So I just joined all the lines together from the waist to the hip down to the hemline. So I'm just going to go ahead now and cut it out. It's alarming, it's alarming. Girl, I just need clarity. Can you just let me breathe? So now from the center front here, I am going to come down by 1 inch. So I'll just mark it here 1 inch down, and I'll just use my ruler to connect it to the side of the waist. Now this is going to help the skirt to sit perfectly on your waist. So I'll just connect it like this, and I'm going to be cutting it out. Make sure that you're cutting out only the front piece. Don't make the mistake of cutting it out on both the front and back, okay? What I'm doing on the back is just tracing out the small part. You notice that the front is the only part that is supposed to go down, not the front and back, okay? Now once you're through with this, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to cut out lining pieces for these fabrics that I've cut out here, both the front and the back. I've cut out the lining for the front pieces and the back, as you can see. Now these ones are for the front pieces here. So what I did is I made the lining 1/2 inch shorter than the actual fabric. This is for it to not come up in front when we are done sewing. That's just the reason. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is on the ends, I am going to align the lining and the actual fabrics like this. I'll go ahead and pin it down. It's not compulsory to actually pin it down if you don't want to. So I'll just cut off this excess that I have here and just continue with my pinning. So once you're done pinning it down, if you decided to, just go ahead and make a stitch here. So once you're done with that first stitch, you're going to align the sides like this, stitch down this side and also do the same thing for this side. You're not going to stitch the upper part yet because that's where we'll be turning everything over to the front. I'm going to do the same thing for my lining pieces as well. So guys, I am done stitching it down and I've ironed it out, turned everything over to the right side, both the front and the back, as you can see. So if you open up the front, this is what it's looking like right now. I have also stitched down the back pieces as well, as you can see. Now I am placing all the front and the back pieces together just the same way we folded them earlier when we were about to cut it out. So now at this waist area here from the front, I'm going to go in by my client's half of my client's nipple to nipple measurement. So I'm marking it on the front and also on the back pieces. This is where I'll be stitching down my dart. So I'm going to take over to the sewing machine and stitch it down here. I'll be stitching it down by 4 inches. So I'll do it on all the 4 places, 2 in front and 2 at the back. Now for the back piece, I am going to be joining the 2 of them together. I'll just place the front piece back as it's folded like this so I know exactly where the stitching allowance for the back is. So it's about 1 inch now, okay? So it's 1 inch that I will be stitching in now. So I'll just arrange everything here as you can see. And from the top, still taking away that 1.5 inch for our band, I'm going to come down by about 14 inches here because I want the zipper for this skirt to be long. Then I'm drawing another line to meet that point. This line should be about 14 inches long as well. So this line I drew out is the only part I'm going to be stitching. And the dart area. Now the upper parts and the lower parts are going to be left unsewn. So guys, I've made the stitch. So let me show you guys. So this opening here towards the end is for the slit. So what I went ahead to do was to just use my hemming gum to just hold the excess allowance for now. This is the area I stitched down, and then this upper part is for the zipper. So I just use my pin to hold that area for now. So yeah, this is what the back piece is looking like so far. So basically what we are going to do now is to join it with the front piece. I have placed them together right sides facing each other, so I'll head over to the sewing machine and I'll be using my client's body measurement to stitch down the side. So I'll measure her waist, her hip, and just take it all the way down on both sides. So guys, now I'm done joining down the sides. You can see what it looks like on both sides. So yeah, this is basically it. Now I am going to go ahead and remove all the pins from the zipper area that I pinned down earlier, just like I'm doing now, so that I would fix the band and then go ahead and fix the zipper to this opening here. So guys, this is the piece I've cut out for the band. Remember we extended our tape by 1.5 inch earlier. So what I have here is 2 inches and this fabric is in a fold. So by the time I've joined this to the waist, it will fall down to that 1.5 inch that I want my band to be. So I cut it out in a fold like I said before, and I've gone ahead to iron my interfacing inside it to just make it strong. The interfacing I used is hairstay. So now as it's folded like this, I'm just going to go ahead and pin it all the way around my waist, just like you see me doing like this. I normally use this method because it's easier, and when I'm done making my stitch, I just go ahead and serge the rough edges so it actually still comes out really neat. So this is how I prefer to attach my band to the waist of the skirt. So now I'll cut off the little excess I have here on the band, and I will just head over to the sewing machine and make a stitch to join this together. And once I'm chill with that, the next thing I'll do is to fix my zipper to this opening here, and that'll basically be all. So guys, I'm done fixing the band and the zipper, and this is what I had right now. So if you open up the zipper, you can see that the band area looks neat because I went ahead to just serge the rough edges. Okay, so this is what I have here. Now that's basically all for the making of this skirt. You can see the slit area underneath here looking nice as well. So yeah, thank you so much for watching today's tutorial. I hope you find it helpful, And if you're still yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.